What's going on, guys? Justin here with my waiver wire pickups for NFL Fantasy Football Week 9. About 95% of you guys that watch are not subscribed, so please quickly click that subscribe button. Let's first take a look at the quarterbacks that I'd be looking to add heading into Week 9. Joe Flacco is the first on this list, and since joining the Bengals, he has had QB 14, 6, and 6 performances. He's got some of the best weapons in the entire NFL, and he gets the Bears and Steelers in 2 of his next 3 games, though they are separated with a bye. I did not believe in the Dolphins' offense at all against the Falcons in Week 8, but Tua put up the QB7 performance, throwing 4 touchdowns. The Dolphins get a great matchup against the Ravens at home, so Tua is a solid streaming option in Week 9. Kyler Murray's ownership has dropped to 54% on Sleeper thanks to his injury and the bye. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he gets probably the best QB matchup possible against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 9. And if you are seeing this before Monday Night Football, then you could pick him up now as he's been on bye this week and should be a free agent in your league. Brock Purdy hasn't played since Week 4, but he gets a good matchup against the New York Giants in Week 9. If he's healthy, he's a great add as a streaming option and a potential starter for the rest of the season. Jumping over to the running backs I'd be looking to add, and for I feel like the first time this year, we actually have some real options. Tyrone Tracy is an absolute must-add. With the awful injury to Cam Skattebo, Tyrone Tracy likely steps in as the main running back for a solid offense. Jackson Dart could vulture some goal line touchdowns, but this is a must-add no matter what. Dump a significant portion of your fab to snag this Boilermaker. Saquon Barkley left the game in the third quarter due to what I think was a groin injury. Tank Bigsby was the predominant running back from that point on. If this game was a bit closer, Saquon might have been able to return, but regardless, his injury is something to monitor. Quinshon Judkins is another running back that got hurt on Sunday, and after he left, Dylan Sampson saw 9 opportunities compared to Jerome Ford's 1. If Judkins were to miss time, Sampson looks to be the starting running back for the Browns, though they do have a bye in Week 9. Bam Knight, like Kyler Murray, gets the Dallas Cowboys in Week 9, which is a great matchup for any player on the offensive side of the ball. Trey Benson should be back in Week 10 or 11, so this is a purely short-term option right now. And if he's unowned in your league, you could probably pick him up right now, as he should be a free agent and not on waivers. Ali Gordon had 10 carries in Week 8 and scored a receiving touchdown. The Dolphins get the Ravens defense next week, who have given up a ton of points to running backs. Achane will likely be the main beneficiary, but if Gordon sees some goal line work, then he could be a streaming option too. The Titans' backfield is around a 50% split in touches at this point, and Tajay Spears outscored Tony Pollard yet again this week. He does play on a bad offense, but he should still be owned in the event of a Tony Pollard injury or trade, or just a shift to some youth. Tyler Algier is one of the top handcuffs in the league, and he has some standalone value, as he is becoming the new Zach Charbonnet. The Falcons had 2 carries within the 10, and he had both of them. Just gross for Bijan owners. Heading over to the wide receivers to add, and it is really thin this week. Xavier Hutchinson was the main beneficiary of the Nico Collins concussion, catching 5 passes for 69 yards and a touchdown. I don't know how sticky this will be with Jalen Noel, Braxton Berrios, and Jaden Higgins all catching 4 or more passes. It might be a committee at wide receiver until Nico gets back. Shamir DK has had back-to-back top 16 finishes in games where Calvin Ridley missed. There's not much going well for the Titans, but he may be emerging as the number 1 wideout. Troy Franklin has had back-to-back games with 8 or more targets, but I do think this game was more matchup-based against the Cowboys. Marvin Mims did leave with injury, so Franklin could be the number 2 pass catcher for the Broncos if Mims misses time. Josh Downs has posted 3 straight games with 11 or more fantasy points, and he's still only owned in 56% of leagues. He plays on the best offense in the NFL, so he's a must-add. Kayshon Boutte isn't seeing a ton of volume, but he's posted 13 or more fantasy points in 3 straight, catching 4 touchdowns in that stretch. He's very touchdown dependent right now, but he's playing on a good offense with a really good quarterback. They get the Falcons next week, but the schedule gets better for the offense in Week 10 and beyond. In Christian Watson's first game back from tearing his ACL in Week 18 last year, he went for 85 yards on 4 catches. He plays on an offense that is going to score points, though there is a lot of mouths to feed. If you need a boom or bust player, Watson is your guy. Only a matter of time before he catches that 50-yard touchdown. And heading over to tight end, there are not a ton of options this week. Both Browns tight ends did catch touchdowns this week, and I told you to start them in my starts and sits video. And they're also startable moving forward. They do have a bye in Week 9, but get the Jets in Week 10. Mason Taylor and the Jets are on bye in Week 9 too, and Garrett Wilson might be back after the bye, but Taylor should still be able to see targets once he returns. Juwan Johnson has seen 7 or more targets in the last 2 games. The Saints shifted from Spencer Rattler to Tyler Shuff midway through the game this past week, and I don't know where Johnson saw the majority of his targets from. The Saints get the Rams next week, which is not a great matchup, but Johnson could be a weekly streamer if you are dealing with injuries or buys. And Noah Fant has had 3 or more catches in 3 straight games, and like Joe Flacco, he gets a good couple of games in the next 3 weeks. He's definitely a deeper option though. And wrapping it up with some defenses I'd be looking to target: the Rams at home against the Saints. And again, the Rams are on bye this week, so you could pick them up if they are unowned today. The Packers at home versus the Panthers, the Chargers at the Titans, the Lions at home against the Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy might return in this game, so that's something to keep an eye on, but I don't know if that's going to dissuade me. And lastly, the Patriots at home against the Falcons, depending on the quarterback in this one as well. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.